Howdy, 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 this is JL for Weekly Shonen Nonsense for the week of March 26th, 2023. I had to redo this intro real quick, so this is going to be a regular week, though with some new things. Hopefully, no one's too freaked out as this face reveal. But going forward, here are the chapters for this week. And starting out, as always, with One Piece, chapter 1079. We see York's plans, just kind of stepping into Egghead Island just for a little bit, just showing what York was doing and how she ordered the Seraphims to act specifically, giving very specific orders that they all followed to the T. But we do get a shot, just a little tiny hint of Blackbeard coming to Egghead Island. This is frightening, but we cut very much over to Shanks versus Kid. Or really, Shanks just annihilating the poor kid. Oh man. I mean, Shanks' fleet we see is sort of a weak one, not really entirely presentable. They're all kind of old men and women, some scared children. But like, him on his own, just going in and demolishing Kid in one hit. And of course, Kid's entire ship gets hit by Hokoku sovereignty. Oh my god. What a callback. A fish got killed again by the same move, though it's a ship this time. So yeah, this is wow, Kid gets wiped out as soon as he leaves Wano. That's not good. Well, sucks to suck, doesn't it? Moving right along to Zhangxi X, chapter 10. This is kind of a very short chapter. It has a little bit of weird things. Okay, so essentially the priestess lady gets captured, I guess. We're just kind of like cutting away from her very quickly over to apparently them going, oh, let's go kill the younglings. And they go off and kill the kids, or try to, as the kids run away. The weird thing I would like to point out in this is that we just kind of get a set of narration boxes just kind of in the middle of this. Like, I'm guessing it's for mandate, because without them it really would be kind of confusing why we just kind of got a bunch of panels with them staring down a Zhangxi at level 5 and just nothing happens for a while. Just they just kind of stand there and stare at each other. But of course it ends with Dad stepping in and saving the boy before getting stabbed. Yeah. Will he survive? Will he live? Possibly. There's not really any indication why he wouldn't survive getting stabbed in the shoulder. Really heavy air quotes on that one. So, again, they're kind of creating something, but we're not really sure where this is going still. I would compare this to another series, The Elusive Samurai, having kind of this story as the base for chapter 1. So to have this be chapter 10, looking kind of shady here. I'm kind of wanting this to maybe spice this up, give us more stake that we can understand, rather than this kind of like nebulous, the village is under attack, but we really haven't gotten to know the village very well yet, so there's no stakes yet. On to Fabricant 100, chapter 15. So we just get a little bit of the backstory for the guy we just killed, showing that he was a bit of a pedo. That's nice to know. I mean, granted, they're all sort of the same way. These kind of fabricants wanting to just collect body parts by gathering children, waiting for them to mature, and then murdering them. Though it does make me wonder how long the fabricants have been running around for, because, like, clearly he's been doing this for a while. Like, he has a bunch of kids he's gathered up, raised, and then murdered. So, again, time frame's sort of weird and wonky. But regardless, we get a bit of his backstory. We get him a kind of fond farewell. Like, oh, look, all the kids he's ever murdered. Oh, they're so happy to see him. Closed door, dead. And we've started to learn, hey, there's something special about Ashabi's powers, like his body, and that's kind of hinting toward maybe at one point Fabricant 100 will take his blood in, become super powered, and fight somebody really big or huge, or maybe that's her goal and she'll be the final boss. And the ending will be sad and depressing. I kind of hope for any of that, actually. It seems like a good setup. But either way, mission complete. We've gone through this mission. We've saved this one girl, and hopefully her father? He's alive. He did get shot. Is he still out there? Didn't really get a closure on that one. Well. And now on to Ichigoki's Under Control, Chapter 16. We're still in this, aren't we? I thought this was going to end really quickly. Like, it's going to just gather the balls and immediately, fix the problem. But no, we are going to be going full tilt into a full new story arc where he is post secondary education and going to America, straight to prison. I'm just going to say I feel a little offended, just a little offended, because you go to an American prison and you immediately think they're just going to be running around, a kitchen and or really a cafeteria and butting heads. I'm sorry. That is not how American prisons work. It is not at all how American prisons work. Even the ending seems a bit like too unrealistic for what an American prison would be. If everybody in the prison, like gang, suddenly turned very, very feminine to the point of wearing dresses and doing crochet, I don't think their daughters would be upset with them or crying out of fear. More just confusion and just again, it's a gag series. You gotta take the ridiculousness on the nose, because really, that's an Okapi ball. How? It's literally the size of the dude's body. How? All right, guys. Can you believe it? A Cypher Academy without any coding. Cypher Academy Chapter 17. This has to be good. No long-winded explanations. No, convoluted bullshit story structure around these really badly created puzzles. There has to be something good about this, right? Not at all. This was bad for entirely different reasons. So apparently they get a free day, so they don't have to code anything. They can just relax and have recreation. But the entire class goes, our recreational ideas are based on coding. Like soccer's based off of coding. No, it's not. It is not at all based off of coding. Sure, you could code from your players from your coaches, but not to the players to players. You're literally kicking a ball and making strategy. That's not code. There's nothing to decipher from that. You have to predict what your enemies will do in a soccer match, what your opponents are going to try to shoot from, but that's not going to, change the fact that you're using your body, that you're running and you're kicking a ball. You have to use precision and endurance, not deciphering a code. You kids are fucking dumb. So they instead decide, we're going to bake a cake from scratch with no instructions out in the wilderness. Cute. We get a bunch of panels involving all the cute girls doing cute things with animals, eggs, wheat. So, I guess that's the real excuse, is to show cute girls farming. But then the audacity, the fucking audacity of the line, "There are no holidays in war." Okay, so, have you ever heard of the Christmas truce of 1914, where during Christmas Eve, in war, a bunch of guys went, "Hey man, we're cold, we're wet, this sucks, and it's Christmas Eve." And they all just decided, hey, let's stop fighting for a minute, let's just have a good time. And they did. And of course the war happened afterwards, and they still shot and killed each other afterwards. But there was a holiday in the middle of it. And hell, just in general, war is not a 24/7 affair. It has been there have been times where war happens, and there are times when war doesn't happen, like during winter and early spring, when we're resting still from the summer and fall wars. War does have holidays. There are times where it breaks. Now, modern day does say war does continue to happen. The war in Ukraine is still ongoing for years on end, and there have been pullbacks and marches forward. Terrible things are happening, of course. I'm not saying war is good, but the idea that there are no holidays, that people don't stop fighting wars, even in the middle of war, that there isn't any break time, that's stupid. That is undeniably dumb as all hell. And of course, they pull the one thing that also bothers me, where like they mentioned the A bomb, like, yep, that got hit by the A bomb in Hiroshima, and then they all look solemn and sad. It's like, you realize that, yeah, that was a terrible event, but it was brought on because Japan was continuing the war. They were continuing fighting. Now, again, the A bomb was a terrible event and really shouldn't have happened. I mean, it still shouldn't have happened. The repercussions have still lasted into this day. Many people have died because the A bomb existed. But Japan really doesn't have any leg to stand on when it comes to the general like control of that. Like, they were the victims. They murdered so many people in World War II. Again, Pearl Harbor is what America knows about. The murder, the massacre of Nanjing is what China knows about. There's also multiple campaigns they had in the Pacific Islands. These guys were not the heroes of World War II. They were not the victims. They were just another combatant in a war of terrible proportions. They allied themselves with the truest of true villains. So no, I don't feel any sympathy for this when it comes right down to it. You guys don't get to parade around the fact that you got hit by the A-bomb when you weren't even there. Because again, Barefoot Gen exists and tells us the entire story of what happened, where they were forced into war, they were forced to fight, they got caught in an explosion, and then got blamed for it, where the victims, the actual people who survived, were ostracized, were taken advantage of, were thrown out of their homes, out of family homes, because they were considered tainted, and yet, like, the whole Japan zeitgeist that remembers the war tries to paint them as victims alongside them while, throwing the actual victims aside. No, you don't get to pull these cards. This is bullshit. Fuck this series. I'll still read it. I hope to God it gets canceled, but god damn it all. Fuck that shit. Alright, so getting over that war rant, I just kind of wanted to point out one other weird thing that I noticed that I didn't really get a chance to mention. There's apparently a weird cake thing they have. I'm not going to pronounce what the hell this cake name is, but each one of them over the course of the chapter mentions what cakes they like, or like have a little blurb saying what like cake style. And outside of like two of them being kind of similar, they're all different tastes. They all have different tastes in cake, and none of them are chocolate. This is really confusing. Like, how are there 20 people who know the same thing, and none of them go like, I like that one too, I like that flavor too? None of them. None of them at all. They all have their own weird, like, flavors. That's really unrealistic to me. Do not understand this. Like, 0 out of 10 makes no sense. Alright, I got a bit heated there. But let's try to cool ourselves down with Ichinose Family's Deadly Sins, Chapter 18. Alright, I think we're already going to fail. Alright, so the coma plot is actually a thing. That wasn't a joke. He is in a coma. And we see the mother kind of living her day-to-day life sort of away from everybody else, alone in her house. Seeming to be the only one who stayed around in her lament and sorrow, sort of leading to a kind of sensitive, unaliving commentary here. But then she meets her husband, and they sort of realize something. They've all been having these weird dreams together, where they're talking to Tsubasa, and they've all got amnesia, and they don't remember anything, and they're all having the same shared dream. The plot thickens. How do how do they have this connection? Is there psychic involved? Is this magic? Again, there's a lot of little intrigues for the series. It keeps just twisting us. So let's keep twisting on forward. Alright, and going on to Ginka and Luna, chapter 27. So hopefully this isn't being cancelled, because we're just jumping into backstory now with human-ish Ginka. We kind of find where his story comes from. He was an abandoned child with his younger sister who got sold to a rich dude, though I don't know where the money actually went, because it didn't go to Ginka, who tried to buy back his sister, only to find out she's been dead the entire time. And apparently he's been talking to a rabbit, who I was about to name Hazel, but unfortunately we found his real name is Magaraka. Magaraka was a rabbit who had no rabbit friends, but only knew one thing: how to ruin somebody else's life. So, of course, Luna's now completely forgotten Ginka, and Ginka's trying to take advantage of that by getting out of her life and going off and pursuing Magaraka on his own. So, hopefully this continues. I'm really hoping the series is so good, and it hit a high. Hopefully it continues to press on forward. And continuing, actually, is Tokyo Demon Bride's story with chapter 28, where people have returned home. They're going to school. More of the demon girls are joining his class, and the harem is starting, I guess. But we also got a bit of a demon doom prophecy here, where apparently a demon jail in Demon World had a demon jailbreak from it. Can I say demon enough? And of course, the only person who ever defeated them was the demon hunter, who's the main character. Oh no, he has a responsibility to use his bat to seal away the demon again. And of course, she's female, so there's going to be shenanigans. I just feel it coming. I had, of course, a giant appear in the end of this chapter here, attacking a train, doing a whole lot of damage, honestly. But I just wrote down, fee, fi, fo, fud, I smell the scent of a sacred blood. And now, on to the series that have survived more than a year, Akane Banashi, chapter 55. We're just kind of jumping straight into it. We go into the hall, meeting some new Zenza, like a 30-plus-year-old Zenza, who's apparently Akane's junior, which is funny, but sort of realistic. Not everybody has to be a high schooler in these series. But of course, the high schoolers have the most power. We learn a bit more about Master Iken, apparently having a career as both a Rakugo and an actor. And we kind of see how the structure goes. Like, there's not a lot of these guys who take on students, so kind of got an in somehow. Probably because she's talented, mostly because of her dad. But hey, we got the turn starting, and we're jumping straight into it next week. So, not bad. I don't really talk a lot about the series I like here, but I wanted to say, again, Kanabanashi is great. It's solid. This chapter was a little lesser, not as colorful, but it did kind of illustrate how the structure of just the Arakawa school works. And when we learn that, and then kind of learning about the other schools in the previous chapters, we're kind of building this world up quite a bit. And again, that's great. We see the stories kind of being illustrated on top of this. Again, this series is good. Just not a lot to say right now. But hey, there's always next time. On to Blue Box, chapter 94. You feel those, Yumika? Those nostalgic waves of basketball. So, we continue the story where Yumika's now watching Chinatsu's game and just kind of getting her fill of it in. And we get a little cutaway to Taiki, who meets up with Hina, who's still showing she's kind of growing past her loss of him. Clearly she's going out and hanging out with the girls, going off and singing Mariah Carey. Was that dubism, or is that what they actually said? This is why I wait for the anime for these sometimes, because, you have these little funny moments. JoJo's did this a lot too, where it just would, have references. Mind you, it's not the music references I'm talking about. Like, it's the shit where, like, Polnareff name drops Tom and Jerry out of fucking nowhere. Like, that kind of shit. I'm seriously hoping they actually said Mariah Carey, purely because, yeah, it seems appropriate. It's Christmas time. Of course she's going to sing Mariah Carey. But, like, kind of out of nowhere. And that, like, wouldn't you think there'd be, like, a more Japanese artist? Maybe that'd be the reference. Maybe they're just translating it for a Western audience. They do tend to do that with the names, too, which, pet peeve of mine. But anyway, so yeah, they're going to a Christmas party. We get more of Taiki kind of showing his determination, going, no, I need to be here. Chinatsu has her own thing to deal with, and, Yumika needs this more than I need this. And, of course, Yumika gets a, like, last little hurrah and, like, a finger up from Chinatsu, who sees her there. Oh, it's very heartwarming. Moving on to Witch Watch, chapter 102. Oh god. Is that a ninth grader with an eye patch? Oh god, please. Oh. Alright, never mind, she's not that terrible. So, okay, we get a new character of Furan, a mad scientist who creates a robot who looks just like her, except she wears an eye patch, and it's controlled remotely. So, hey, this can lead to some fun shenanigans. I feel sort of weird with having Ichigoki under control here, like right above this, and like, we just got a new character in the new gag series who's almost exactly the same, almost, but not quite. There's subtle differences, but either way, we kind of coalesce around a plot involving Mahiru, taking an energy from Rui, but of course, she's like, oh no, he's secretly evil. Like, I mean, he is evil, but he's not a drug dealer. Also, a fun little Solid Snake reference there with the camo going away. Also, a COVID joke. I know it's been 3 years in the pandemic, but still, a COVID joke. It's so amazing that we get jokes that are based off of real life events, even when they're terrible. Sakamoto Days, chapter 112. So, apparently the people we are escorting are the wife and daughter of the chairman of the JAA. And of course, we have some shenaniganry in this car. No, they're wanting to survive. They're wanting to get out of the city, get out of life, and we kind of learn that assassins don't tend to go with civilians as love interests, or love interest in general, because, normies don't know how to deal with the assassin life. Reasonable, makes sense. I did kind of like the little Konomi and Taro little duel there, where he tries to make her laugh and puts on the fat suit, and everyone's like, that's not going to make her laugh, and makes her laugh immediately, because, same wavelength, and thus is the birth of Fat Taro. Now we know why he's fat. It's not necessarily just because he's letting himself go, it's because he knows it makes his daughter smile. That's nice. I like that. And of course, we have a few little, fight sequences, of course, because it's Sakamoto Days. Why wouldn't there be some high-octane action, including a grenade under a car? How do you get the grenade? Punch through the car. Grab the grenade. Shoot the manhole open from the outside. Toss the grenade into the manhole. Oh, that is extra, and I love it. And apparently we have a thing about good deeds, so that's going to be the tick, the word tick for this little arc. So, let's have some more fun car shenanigans. Now on to the ick with Ayakashi Triangle, chapter 124, where we get the first half of the chapter being about slime and self-cessed. These tags are terrible. So, yeah, apparently they're trying to test and see which one of them is the real Matsuri by, dunking them into a slime monster and then having them 69. Not really, but, hey, the visuals don't lie here. And of course, Suzu's in the back going, oh no, something's awakening inside of me. But before, they can do anything, it's like, no, can't find anything. He's exactly a perfect match for the female version. But of course, we start also seeing some other things happening where apparently Suzu has a preference. She has a preference for girl Matsuri. That's making me happy at least. But no, clearly something's going wrong here, and someone knows about it. Shadow May knows. Shadow May knows something. So the plot thickens. Hopefully we don't keep getting more tags. Come on, guys. Come on. We have too many. Draw, Pilgrim. It's Undead Unluck, chapter 152. So we get the soft origins of Unfair, where we actually see what had happened in the original, the 99th loop, where apparently Billy and Creed actually fought each other with the power of Unfair and Undecrease. And we learned that apparently Billy had a wife and daughter, who is an Archie reference. Betty and Veronica, are you kidding me? An Archie reference? In my manga? No. Someone read Archie? Really? Okay, if there's an Archie Sonic reference in manga, I am going to quit. That's insane. That would be too funny. I sort of want to see it. I sort of want to see an Archie Sonic reference in a manga now. Anyway, going back to it. So we're kind of we have the fight between Fuko and Billy there on the back of disc, and unfortunately discovering that apparently Fuko is a lot more of a schemer than she looks. So she takes off her boots, gets onto the disc. Apparently she can now emit unluck into the disc, and whoever touches the disc then gets a boost of unluck, which unfortunately falls to Nico, and then the disc starts to fall apart. And of course we get Billy getting shot, and of course losing his duel, now working for Fuko. Of course he unlocks Unfair, but now Unfair works to apparently copy abilities from people who view him favorably as opposed to unfavorably, like it was before. So this is fun. Oh my god. Again, Betty and Veronica. Wow. And finally, after all these years, My Hero Academia continues with chapter 383. And apparently we're getting kind of some build-up here for the next couple of chapters, but we're getting Gigantomachia, or Gigantomachia. Honestly, I like Gigantomachia because, soft G, hard G, Spanish, whatever. So the villains are trying to, get him out of captivity and use him in battle for All for One. But, of course, our boy and girl are here. Kirishima and Mina are here, giving their kind of big damn hero moments for the final. And of course, Mina showing that she can leak so much acid her eye color changes. That's fascinating. I know the series isn't going to last long enough to see her drain all of her acid and then have her eyes be completely white as opposed to them being normally black Scalera. So it's fascinating. And we get back the sludge guy from chapter 1. He apparently latches on to Shinzo and stops them from brainwashing him. But of course, Mina comes in for the save, punching him and going, "Do you want acid inside you? Do you want acid inside you?" He's like, no, I don't want that. And Shinzo then brainwashes him and goes off and brainwashes Gigantomachia. So now we have Gigantomachia. I'm gonna mispronounce him every single time just for you. So Gigantomachia is now joining with Mount Lady and all the rest of them and fighting All for One. And that giant last panel, clearly going, oh god, this is all going to turn around next chapter. I hope to god he doesn't go on another hiatus so soon. Oh, we're very close to Golden Week, aren't we? Oh no. Oh, please end soon. Well, I hope it ends well, maybe not soon. Alright, and that is it for this week. So, quite a few chapters, a lot of drops here, a lot of comics shown. Clearly, I have some biases here. Overall, generally good. A lot of the newer ones still have some proving to do, especially one, though I'm pretty certain that's either going to get canned or continue and cause me massive grief. But hey, I'm also enjoying a lot of the references they keep pulling out in these, so that's been fun. Hopefully, we continue next week with more of the wonderful chapters from Shonen Jump. Oh, also should be saying, I guess, like, favorite, comment, subscribe, or whatever. I don't do much of that stuff anyway, so bye!